What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we taking a deep dive into the YoloBox Extreme. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. So if you haven't had the chance, go back and watch part 1. Link is in the description below. And once you finish watching that, come join us for part 2 as we dig deeper and I show you everything that I know so far about the YoloBox Extreme. Let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And I'll try to go ahead and walk you guys through each section, each option that you have to choose from. Starting off with the camera section. Right now I have my main camera in front of me. It's the FX6, and then it's plugged into HDMI 4. So it's a direct HDMI connection to the YoloBox Extreme. Over here on my left, I have a smaller camera. It's the Osbot Tel Air, and I have an HDMI connection from that camera directly to the YoloBox and HDMI 6. So as you can see, I can switch between first and second camera. If you go to add video source, from this screen you have a lot of choices, a lot of things that you can do, a lot of video sources that you can add. So I'm going to start off by adding a couple NDI cameras that I have sitting in the room here. So if I click on NDI, does a quick scan, and you can see there are 2 NDI cameras out there. I have a Tel Air, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that and click done. And boom, it's found the other Tel Air that's behind me. I click add a video source again, click on NDI again, and it's going to scan the network, your local network, and see what type of NDI sources that you have out there. I have one that's called the VM46. That's by Nearstream. So I'll select that and I'll hit done. Trying to hit done there. And it's going to go ahead and add that camera. And you see that camera is way off in the distance there. So I can switch to it and we can see another angle here. So at this point, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 camera sources. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 camera sources. Actually, let me turn on this other camera. There is one above that I totally forgot about. All right, I have that camera hooked up. If we switch to it, that's HDMI 7. It's an overhead view of my setup here. You can see everything I have on my desk. And it's just cool to be able to have these various options to choose from when you're live streaming or you're creating some kind of content for later. Now, what I also want to show you guys is that even though we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras here, we can go to add video source, and you have these multi-views here on the right side of the screen. And what that allows you to do is create a unique sort of view for your live stream. So for example, if I click on, let's say here, it says 2 views, I can choose which 2 views I would like to create a unique view from. So let's go with, let's say NDI 1 and NDI 2, and I'll click done. So now I have these 2 views that that you could choose from. Let's add a quick little background because there's some options there. You can create a nice border thickness. You can change the border color. Let's go with, I don't know, let's go with yellow. I'll click OK. You can swap the videos from one screen to another, and you can scale videos up and down. And once you're done, you can click done, and now you have this 2 view as a different view, this 2 view multi-view as a different video source, so that you can switch between, like I said, you can switch between your HDMI 6 or camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, however you want to call it. You can switch to this multi-view that you created. And I think that's pretty impressive. That's actually a pretty cool feature. Of course, you could do various side-by-sides. So let's go with these 2. Click done. I'm not going to edit it too much. We don't really need, let's throw a background behind it. Click done. And now we have this other view that we could be using as a video source. And I just think that's incredible. If I go to add video source again, you can then choose another video source here. So I'm going to click on SD where it says video there. If I click the SD card, there's a couple videos from in the past that I have. So I can choose this little Coast Lake Shore video. If I go to USB storage, there's some videos on there. It looks like the same videos. And so yeah, let's go to SD card. We'll select that one, hit done. And now I have this optional video that I can switch back and forth between as another video source. For whatever reason, you need to pull in video from there. If I click add video source again, I go back to this little video symbol. Like I said, I can switch over to the USB storage. So you can use your USB drive as a video source, and I can pull in this video from a while ago that I made. So now you have all these different video sources that you can choose from, going back into the menu and adding whatever you would like to create a source from. So I just think that's an amazing option. So that's basically your video inputs. Looking here on the right hand side, you see where it says add overlay. So from here is where you can add your various overlays for the video. If I click on add overlay, go ahead and select this first lower thirds in the upper left hand corner, and from here I can create the lower thirds. So overlay name, we'll just give it we'll just leave that at lower thirds. And for title, put my name, click that, and under subtitle, put whatever you want, of course. Rule of the world, how about that? Yeah, that sounds about right. Of course, going down the title font, you can choose the fonts. We'll change that. And then title size, so you drag that slider, of course you can change the title size there. We'll make it kind of big there. Naturally, you can change the color. So on the title color, I'll make it like yellow. Click OK. Actually, I like that better back at white. I'll change that back to white. Title background color, that's what I was looking for. You can change that to yellow. Click OK. Boom, it's yellow. And the same thing with the subtitles. You can change the title color, and then of course clicking on the background color, you can change that. So it's, something to play around with. Grab, subtitle offset, you can drag it left and right, center that however you want. Of course, scale it up and down. And this is cool. So one of the options you have is an auto hide. So I can click auto hide and set the duration to whatever you wanted it to be. So let's set that to, let's say 3 seconds. I'll click done. And boom, now we have this lower thirds option that we've created. If I click on that, it'll add the lower thirds, and after a couple seconds it goes away. You can create that, customize that however you want. All right, so moving on to the next overlay. If you click the add overlay button, we did the lower thirds. Next up is image overlay. I have a couple of images on this SD card, so I go ahead and click on that, and you can add an image to your live stream. You can resize the image, so we can do that here. Click on the scale, shrink it down. You can also click on the image itself and drag it to wherever you want that to be. So I put it in the upper right here, and I'll scale it up a little bit. Just kind of drag it to the corner. So you can set whatever image, whatever thing is you're talking about or you want to demonstrate. If you look below here, below scale, you can click on the auto hide button, and you can set the duration. So click on the duration, and you can choose how long you want it there. Maybe you want it there for a whole minute. If you don't hit this duration, it'll just, this auto hide, if you don't select the auto hide, it'll just stay there the whole time until you turn it off. But I'll go ahead and make it, let's make it 5 seconds. You click done, and then you click done again. And now, along with the lower thirds overlay, you have a image overlay. So if I click on the image, it'll add it, and I can sit here and talk about my wonderful vacation to the mountains, blah, 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 and then it just fades away. And I think that's just slick, just like the lower thirds. You can bring as many things up as you want there. And it all just fades away whenever you want it to fade. If you click on add overlay again, next up you have titles. There's all sorts of titles here that you can choose from. If it was my live stream, I would, of course, probably want some sort of social media. So if I click on this Instagram one here, you can see there are options here for the Instagram title. So I'll just go ahead and put Next Level Craig. As far as the username, you can choose the font, the username size. If you want to drag that out bigger, again, you can drag it. I'm just holding on the actual image, and I can place it wherever I want. And just like a lot of the other options, you can change the color. I'm going to leave that as white, the scale, and again, auto hide. So I'll set that, turn that on. It's set to 10 seconds. So I can just leave that on, click done. And now you have a social media style overlay that I can click on and bring in. Next Level Craig. Make sure you follow, talk your blah, 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 like and subscribe, all the things. And then over some time, it'll fade away. It'll fade away, you know, the 10 seconds that we set it on. So like I said, this YoloLiv Extreme box device is just a beast, man. It does so much. You click on overlay again, we can move over to the timer section. So here you can choose your various timers. A lot of streamers like to have a clock, a countdown clock that lets you know when the stream is starting. So of course you have that option here. You click on here, and here are all the options. You can choose the text, the show starts, make that say whatever you want. I can put soon, show starts soon, change the font to whatever you want. And then the text color, again, just like, I like that the menus are similar. So I'll go ahead and choose yellow, and boom, the show starts soon. Maybe the timer color, I can make that, I don't know, let's make it red. It's kind of a crazy color to choose, but again, the timer font, the ring color itself, it has these gradients you can choose from. So I'll go ahead and choose this yellow and purple. Click done. And now you have the yellow and purple radiant going around there. The colors are kind of crazy. This isn't actually what I would choose, but just for demonstration purpose, I love the fact that you can just bring in whatever you want. Under background music, you can load up some MP3s. I have a song on here. It's not what I would choose for a live stream, but you click on it, choose the song, click done. And now with this live stream countdown, you can play some music for the background. You can change the background color. I'll leave that as black. And you can slide the opacity there. And again, the scale. Just click done. And now you've created a countdown overlay. So the beginning of my stream, I could put that on there and let it count down, do its thing, or not use it at all. It's entirely up to you. Moving on, click on add overlay. You have video overlay. So this is really cool. I think that this is a pretty unique thing, that the fact that you could pull in video from any one of the cameras. If I click on that view there, and I can scale it, and then I could drag it up here to the right, and you could leave it there, or you could set it with the auto hide like before, like all of the overlays before. So if I wanted to, I'll turn off the auto hide and just leave it the way it is. So if I wanted to, I could just click on the video overlay, and there's a second option, a second view over there that actually it's that view over there, right? Yep. It's that view over there. I could have it fade away over time, or I could just have it here, a sort of a picture-in-picture kind of thing going on. Now also under video, if I click add overlay again, go to video overlay, I can use video that's from the SD card or from the USB drive. I could choose that video that we had earlier, and I could have that video playing too. So again, if I choose to resize it, scale it, put it down in the right hand corner, and boom, we have video from our video source playing, however long you need that to play. Again, you can have the auto hide on and have it just fade away, but you could leave that on the whole time if you wanted. So you could have multiple things going on at the same time, different camera views, different videos playing, and all as an overlay. So I think that's pretty sweet. Going back to the add overlay option, if you go to the YoloCast overlay, YoloCast has a service here where once you connect to the service, you can download various assets. There's some assets already on here on the Yolo Extreme, but there are more on their site and with their service, and it provides you more options, more scoreboards. Say that 3 times. More scoreboards and various assets like that you can download and install here on the YoloBox Extreme. If you click on web URL overlay, it's something similar, but these are third-party services. So you could link to third-party services to get various plugins and overlays and things like that work well with the YoloBox Extreme. I'm not signed up for YoloCast overlay or any of the third-party services, but that's always an option. So let's get back out of overlays and move over to the next section. This is your audio mixer settings page. So on this page, you can have it the way it's set up right now, with all of the audio options here and the video options here on the left side of the screen. If you, in the upper right hand corner, if you click on the arrows, and it'll give you a full view, a full screen view of all of your audio options. So as you look at this here, you can see that there are all of our cameras and all the audio from those cameras as an option. Take it back out of full screen. So with each of these cameras, most of them, almost every camera has a microphone. I can't think of one that doesn't. So they all have the capability of switching to the audio of that camera whenever you need to, and also monitoring. So if I click the monitor icon here on HDMI 4, now you see that I can monitor that audio if I wanted to. Now, each one of these has the option of AFV. That means audio follows video. And as you switch video cameras, the audio from that camera will kick in. So I'm not going to do that because the way I'm set up now, I have this microphone plugged into a Zoom H6, and the audio from the Zoom H6 is going into the YoloBox. So this is my best audio. If I switch to one of the other cameras, it's going to sound horrible because those cameras are farther away and the audio mics aren't as nice as what I'm using right now. Underneath each option, you have the options to adjust the gain. So here I could lower the gain of the program monitor, or I can increase it back up to about 9 dB gain here. The same below with the monitoring audio. So if you're trying to monitor and listen to the audio that you're getting, you can adjust the gain for that also, the levels of that. Same with the line in audio. If it's coming in too hot, you can adjust that as well. So this is the audio page. Pretty simple. It can look a little complicated, but it's not too complicated at all. Next up, the next page are your recording settings. So here from the recording page, you can choose how to record, where you would like to record, and what you want those settings to be. The first option here says select. So if you hit the select button, you can choose where to store your locally recorded audio. You have the option of using USB storage, which I do have plugged in. You could use the SD card, which I have installed as well, or use the internal storage of the YoloBox Extreme itself. If I switch to the SD card, if you'll notice in a few seconds, it's going to take a look at the SD card. And depending on what it is, your settings you're using, it's going to determine whether that card is fast enough You may get a warning here if your card is too slow. So you want to use a faster card if you want to record like 4K, 50 megabits per second type of video, because it needs, that's a lot of data. So the card needs to be able to handle that transfer speed as it writes to the card. So under recording settings, you have the option to set the recording settings. Right now it's set at 4K, 30 frames per second, 50 megabits per second. I have it kind of turned up because I like a higher quality video as I'm recording live streams locally. Under select recording source, I can choose to record other cameras as well. So right now it's set to record any video that's coming from the program monitor. So as I switch to the various monitors here, I can have that video, most likely from the live stream, recorded locally on the box. But if you wanted to, you can add, let's say HDMI 4, HDMI 6, and 7, and it will record the video from those cameras as well as a separate file. So that is kind of incredible. Like if for whatever reason, maybe later on you want that high quality video from locally from that camera, you have it recorded directly to the YoloBox Extreme, which can be helpful because not all cameras have the ability to record themselves. For example, if you're using a web camera of some sort, you want to record that video. So the options are there. Under recording limits, if you click on that, this determines the recording limits before the YoloBox makes a new file. So for example, it's set at 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes of recording, it'll break off and start recording a new file. And if you're doing an hour live stream, then you're going to have 6 separate files, and they'll each be 10 minutes in length. You could change that if you wanted to 20, 30, or 60 minutes, or even continuously. But if you do that, you run the risk of possibly losing some data if there's some sort of issue. So for example, if you set it to continuously and you're doing like a 2-hour live stream, if for whatever reason there's some sort of issue, that file, you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose the entire 2 hours. Instead, if you set it to 10 minutes, you might lose 5 minutes. You may lose one of the files, but not all of the data, not the entire live stream. So it looks like YoloBox is saying right here, in order to prevent losing the complete recording due to unexpected interruptions, we suggest you choose the defaulted 10 minutes option. So that's what I've chosen. Maybe there's some issues with using it, doing 60 minutes. I'm not sure. I haven't actually tested that part, but I think it's best to run with what they recommend. So we'll do that way there. Now, if I click on the record encoding settings, it'll take me into that page, which also, looking at the bottom of the page, that's the next page. So if I click the next icon, it'll take me to the encoding settings. If I go back and I click record encoding settings, it'll take me to that same page as well. So as we look at the encoding settings page, you can see it's broken up into 2 sections. The top part is the stream encoding, and the bottom section here is the local recording encoding settings. So to make any changes, if you click on resolution, you have the option of choosing 4K all the way down to 720p. I'm going to change that to 2K. I don't know which platforms out there allow you to stream at 4K. I don't think there's a lot of them, but you have that option if you need to. And you can change the frames per second. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 60 frames per second. And then you have the bit rate. The rate of adjusting the bit rate is going to affect the quality of the stream of some sort. So I'll leave it at 12 megabits. You can take it all the way up to 20 megabits per second, but I'm going to leave it just dead center there. If you click on more settings, you have the option to choose the encode format settings, which gives you the option between H.264 and H.265. I'm going to leave it at H.264, and the encode type is going to be CBR, which is constant bit rate. You could choose CQ, which is constant quality, and then VBR, which is variable bit rate. I like to use it at constant bit rate, so I'll leave it there for now for this demonstration or the purposes of me showing you guys how this all works. Under the record encoding section, this is for your local file. Again, same settings. You can choose it to be 4K all the way down to HD frames per second. I'm going to set that at 24 frames per second. Actually, I'm going to set it at 60 because I kind of want it to be something I can play with later on in editing if I need to be. The bit rate, I like to bump it up some, so I'll take it up to like 50 megabits per second. And under more settings are the same settings as above, H.264, H.265, and your encoding type. Encode type is CBR, CQ, and VBR as before. So I'll leave it there. Moving on to the next section is Scoreboard. I'm not going to go deep into this because it's pretty self-explanatory. If you enable the Scoreboard here, you can edit it like you do the layers. I feel like this should be part of the layer section, but this is where it lies. So this is what I want to show you guys. You can drag it around just like the layers before. And again, you can adjust the size. And from here, you would adjust the score from team 1 to team 2, and that sort of thing. If you go into Scoreboard styling, here you can name the teams. Team 1 can be, let's say, USA, and team 2 could be, I'm just trying to predict the spelling here. Let's say Canada. So you have USA and Canada. You can go through, and again, you can choose the colors. So for USA, we could just make it blue if we wanted. Click OK. If you notice the thing turned blue, Canada, we could make it, let's say, orange. Click OK. So it's pretty simple. We're at this point, we're pretty familiar. You should be pretty familiar with the menus and the options and how they work, because it's really similar to the layer section that we did before. So background color, all that sort of thing. It's just easy to change, just like that. So I'll leave it white for now. So yep, I'll hop out of here because, like I said, this is pretty self-explanatory, I think. So under Scoreboard displays, where you can turn it on and off. So I'll turn it off for now. Next up is your replay options. Now this is a pretty slick option. This is where you could do instant replays of, let's say you're watching a game, you're live streaming a game, you want to do an instant replay, or maybe you're doing something funny here on the stream, and you wanted to do an instant replay. So what you want to do first is go into replay settings, and under replay selected source, you want to select which camera views you'd like to use. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and choose HDMI 4, which is what I think I had before. And let's go with HDMI 6. So these are the two cameras that will do the instant replay. Next up, you have the replay button display. You can turn that on or off. Always on. Always display or display when replay is on. I just like leaving it on here. The replay video duration will make it 5 seconds. You can take that all the way up to a whole minute. So we'll leave it at 5 seconds. I think that's a pretty good place to be. Next up are the in and out mark function button. You can turn that on or off. I like having as much information on as possible, so I leave these buttons on, and same as the show play last function button. So we'll leave that on. The replay tags, you can tag and name the replays. Camera 1, camera 2, however you want to name it. So all you do is click on those, click rename, and you can call it whatever you want. We'll call it camera 2 for now. Done. Under replay audio, this determines whether the replay comes in at normal audio, or maybe you want the audio to be a little bit quieter or louder. You can set that right there under replay audio. Under replay encoding settings, you can go in here and make changes to your local recording, but it's going to take you to the initial page of the recording settings from before. So that's the settings it's going to choose. Take you back to going back to the replay page. So next up is the mute other audio source during replay option here. If you turn that on, it'll mute all the other cameras, any other audio source from playing during the replay. I leave this off because I kind of want to talk over the replay. But if you only wanted audio from the replay to play, then you could choose that and turn that on. But for now, we'll leave it off. Next up is the replay mode preferences. I have it set to always ask, but you can have it set to always play now or always use later. So it could record the replay and use later, or it could just play the replay instantly right away. I have it set to always ask. Under show replay logo on program, you have the option to add like a logo to just let people know that this is a replay. So there's one here that's default, but again, you could, if you had some other logos, you could hit the plus button and go to your images and, you know, from your SD card, internal storage, or USB, and add some sort of image there, some sort of logo, or whatever it suits you. Next up, under show intro outro, you could do sort of an intro or an outro to the replay. I don't have anything set there because I don't really use the replay. I just kind of play with it for the purposes of this video. So now that we've set everything for the replay setup, we can enable the replay up top here by clicking the replay button, and you're all set. You have a replay ability. So let's go ahead and test that out. I'll do something silly like drink from this drink. Then I'll hit the replay button and I'll hit play now. And it's playing what I did earlier. Then I'll hit the replay button and it'll switch to camera 2 and play that same replay again. Then I'll hit the replay button. It'll take us back to the program monitor where we are now. It's something fun you can play around with and edit and make the replay longer and play the replay in slow motion, things like that. So above here is the replay speed that you can choose and, you know, make it even slower. So let's make it, let's say 50%. I hit the replay that's already saved, play selected. And if you notice, it's playing it much slower. Such a silly video. But yeah, I like the fact that it just kind of slows it down. You have these options to play around. So I think it's a cool feature and something that tons of people will use, especially the live streamers who use the YoloBox Extreme for sports or something like that. Moving on, we have the auto switch section. And from here, you can set the cameras. You can program your live stream show to automatically switch between the various cameras. You can set it sort of a sequence, camera 1, 2, 3, 4, every 20 or 30 seconds or a minute, however you want it preset, or you could make it sort of random. So if you go into the settings here, right now we have the default mode selected. So what you want to do is under video sources, choose the videos that you want to switch between. So let's use camera 4, HDMI 4, HDMI 6, and HDMI 7. And now from here, you can choose how long you want it to stay on that camera before it switches to the next camera. So 10 seconds is kind of short, but for the purposes of the video, I'm sure it can work. Actually, let's make it 5 seconds because that's pretty long when it comes to making a YouTube video or something like that. So we'll bring it down, 5 seconds, done. Under loop, you can have it play once, or you can have it continuously going and loop through the sequence that you've programmed here. The order, you can choose sequential or random. And then main video source, you could choose what you want to be the main video source. So we'll choose HDMI 4, which is the camera that I'm speaking to now. And we'll make this 5 seconds as well. Click done. And now you're ready for the auto switch. So if you turn the button on, it should start doing its auto switch. And then you can see it counting down as it gets ready to switch between the various cameras. So, and it's doing that, and on to the next camera. So it's switching from each one back to the main camera, and then it stops the playing there. So it's pretty cool if you set it up to loop. And I would of course, make the time longer and have it just randomly switching to various camera angles, depending on what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. Now, if I was doing a podcast, I wouldn't be using this mode because it's something that's unpredictable for a podcast. But if you use right next to the default mode is video follows audio. So if you click that, then you can have the video switching to the person that's speaking. So it will detect which camera has audio or which camera has someone speaking to it, which camera is picking up audio from a person, and switch to that camera. And I think that works well for a podcast. For here, you can set the switch sensitivity or the switch delay. So you can kind of make it, instead of it being so instant and abrupt, you can make it wait a little while and then switch over to that person, and it'll seem a little more natural. And then you can set the minimum switch duration. So if you want it to stay on that person for a few seconds, you can just change that from 2 to 5 seconds. And then next up, you can choose the threshold, the decibels. So basically how sensitive the mic will be to pick up the audio from something happening nearby, like somebody speaking. Under choose audio source, you can decide which cameras you want to use this feature on. So if I wanted, I could choose HDMI 4 and NDI 1 and have those as the selections there. And I'm not going to get too deep into this, because it gets pretty configurable. There are conditions and switching actions to choose from under which conditions. I'll let you guys play with that for now. I don't want to cover that for now. But again, you could hit the start to auto switch, and that's how you engage that mode, and the system will just work from there. Clicking on the next icon, next up is the background music. So from here, you can add background music to your live stream. It's very simple. Looking here, all you do is hit the plus sign, and it will take you to your SD card, internal storage, or USB storage. From the SD card, I can choose this song that I chose earlier. Select that and hit done. And now you have the option to play this music as your background. And top of the screen there where it says 70, you click on that, you can adjust the audio level of the song so it's not too loud for your audience, and you could have that streaming in the background. Now, if you wanted to, you could add more songs, sort of a playlist. So if you click the plus button again, I only have one song here, but if there were 10 songs here, I could select it, hit done, and I could add multiple songs to this sort of playlist and have it just play through each song. If you look at the bottom, also all the way to the right, you have this icon that you can switch between a loop setting. So it allows you to switch to like a random sort of a loop one time, sort of a playlist option here, and back to the regular loop. So this is pretty flexible, and letting you create a playlist of music for your live stream. You got a few options there, but I don't think it's too overwhelming. It's not a lot going on, but just enough to help out with their live stream. Next up is the video source transitions. So from his screen, the video source transition screen, you can choose what type of transition you like as you switch between the various video inputs that you have. So for example, right now it's set to fade. So if I switch to one video source to another, it does this kind of fade transition. Typically I have it on cut. So it just quickly jumps over to the next scene as I hit cut. But there are other options here. Wipe. I feel like it's kind of cheesy, but it's there. You have the directional wipe. Does this kind of upswing translation. And then you have window slice and etc. I'm not going to walk through all of them, but There are various effects. So from here is where you would choose what type of transition that you want. You could also do a fade to black. In the upper right hand corner, you have the option. And with the fade to black, you'll get no audio, no video. So if you want some sort of privacy, maybe something's happening here, you don't want recorded or you don't want live stream, you hit that fade to black. It'll fade it to black and you can handle whatever situation you got going on and then activate it again to bring everything back. With this last button here on the right, you have the option. If you hit that, you can put the tools in whatever order you would like. So I said earlier that I think Scoreboard should be near overlays. So I can drag that up next to overlays. Drag each one of these in whatever order that you would like them in. So if I hold replay, I can swing it, drag it down under auto switch and use that as the new order. But also you could hit restore default order. That's always an option too. So that's each page in a nutshell. In the upper right hand corner of your screen, you have the settings option. So if you click on that, you can hit this page from this menu from any page that we've covered so far. So from here, you can choose some of the settings for the YoloBox itself. So for example, the classic mode default, this is your switching mode. So if I click on that, you have two modes. You have your classic mode and you have the director mode. The classic mode is what we're in now. If I choose director mode, then you sort of have a preview window that a lot of real pro broadcasters might use. They have the window, the program window that they're in, but they also have a preview window. So looking at that right now, we are live with this program window with me, my talking head. But my next move, it kind of loads up your next choice that you want to switch to. So for example, if I hit this button here that says preview to program, I hit it, it's going to switch it over and the program window, the previous preview window is now live in the program window. And then I can choose my next thing that I'm ready to queue up and hit the button again and take it to the overhead view, so to speak. So if I'm ready to go back to the talking head, I can do my little demonstration here with this program view and then hit the button and take it back to me, the talking head. Just depends on what you like. I prefer the classic mode right now. So wherever I click on, it actually switches to without any sort of loading up the preview kind of situation. Next up, you have show CPU usage. What that does is show you how hard the CPU is working. So right now we're at 57%, 58%, a little bit over half of what it can handle with all these video streams coming in at the same time. I'm sure when I go live and start recording locally, it's really going to jump the CPU up. So it just kind of gives you an idea where you are before you start running into issues, and maybe gives you the chance to play around with your stream and lower some of the things that may be causing problems. So, maybe some of these cameras need to be at 1080p. Maybe your streaming needs to come down. Just depends on your situation. I don't want to say that you can run every possibility of the YoloBox Extreme all at the same time, because it is a computer. It can only handle so much all at once. So you have a lot of options, but I can't say that all the options will work at 100% all the time and doing everything with your live stream and local recording and going out to a monitor, going out to two different outputs, that sort of thing. So you can pick and choose and just see where you are with the stream. The next option will show title and action zones, just to give you an idea of what could be clipped if you're too far out. A lot of cameras do this. So if you're putting something too far out of these lines, they may be clipped in your broadcast or in your recording or in your editing program. So typically you want to keep things within these boxes, and it's sort of a guideline. It's not a rule. It's more of a guideline to let you know where to put everything. I have a sense of where that stuff is usually at, so I don't usually have that on my cameras or on my monitors or even on the YoloBox Extreme. Next up is video source switch. Right now it's click to switch. So as I click each one, it'll switch to the camera that I choose, but you could change it to double click to switch. So if I accidentally hit one of these, it doesn't switch. But if I double click, it'll take it right over, tap, tap, over to the next one. So that's actually a pretty cool option to have. If you're worried about accidentally going live to the wrong camera, you can set it to double click and double click back. But for me, I leave it on click to switch for now. If I run into issues, then that's something I would change. Next up is your local video settings. You could have it pause when switching, or you could have it loop. And what that means is if you're playing a local video, for example, this video 1 here, when I switch, I could have it pause so that when if I switch back to it, it'll pick up where we left off. If I switch away from it again, it'll pause that previous video. Or you could set it to resume the first frame. So maybe you want it to start over playing again when you switch. That's an option that, you know, something you have to decide. I'll leave it on pause to switching. And again, you could set it to loop or stop at the last frame. So once the video has finished, you can have it automatically start playing again at the beginning, or you could just have it stop. That's, again, up to you. Next up, you have input settings. So your HDMI 1, 2, and 3, you could set them to be 30, 50, or 60 frames per second. And moving on to your HDMI out, you can set this to be program out or mirror out, that sort of thing. So to give you guys an example, I'll switch to my overhead view. I have this recording that you're seeing right now going out to mirror out. So everything you see on the screen is being mirrored out to this Atomos Ninja. And this is actually how I'm recording the high quality video that you're getting now. I could have had that changed to just program out, and it would only get what's in the program menu or what's in the program window. It would only send that out. But I need all of this. So I have it set to mirror out. You could do multi-view out. Let's go down to HDMI 2. Maybe we can show you. If I switch to multi-view out, and this is what you'll get. You'll get this multi-view that you can customize and choose how you want this setup to be. Or you could go to program out, and it's just going to give you the program window. I'll switch to the talking head. So you get whatever's in the program window. And there's a custom out where you can choose various video sources. So I leave it to mirror out, and these same settings apply that you can do to HDMI output number 2. So this is, again, a pretty powerful box, and I can send this out to 2 different locations and live stream and record on 4K and do all these things at the same time. It's pretty impressive. One day I'm going to push it to its limit. I'm going to have everything running at the same time just to see how well it handles all of that. On the USB-C out, you can enable that, and you can send this feed from the screen out to a USB-C source. So maybe if I wanted to set this up as almost a video source for, let's say, Zoom, and I could do a whole presentation here with various switching and stuff, and Zoom would be able to pick this up as a video source and show multi-cameras and things like that through Zoom. So I think that's a pretty slick option to have, or ability to have. And below you have this flip horizontal where you can change that view, because, you know, and down below you have this flip horizontal option where you could change the view and flip the image. I don't know if you've been on a live stream before where things are kind of flipped wrong. You know, maybe the words on your shirt look backwards or something like that. You could flip the video for the person to see who's watching on the other side to see things correctly. So that's an option. Next up, you have the NDI out that you can enable, which will do something similar to the USB-C out, except you can use NDI and send this feed to other devices that are on your network that have NDI capability. Under recording file management, you have some options here. Internal storage recording file management. I don't have any files here. but here's where you could organize your internal files and sort them. Actually, I can go over to SD and show you the same thing. It's a very similar screen. Let's go to SD card recording file management. I do have some files here. So as you can see, I could choose a file. I could delete it, reorder it, sort it by name, date, that sort of thing. Just allows you to clean up your cart and that sort of thing. Looks like one of our cameras went dead. Just move that down here. They are battery powered cameras. So yeah, I'm not surprised that that one died out after however long this video is. Under USB storage recording file management, it's something similar as before with the SD. You can sort them by name and delete them and that sort of thing. So this kind of lets you clean up your storage there. Under others, next up you have web control, mobile web control. So if you click on that, you can actually go to a website and control the YoloBox from there. So let me show you. I'll pull up grab a phone and we'll pull that up. So if you go to the YoloBox website, and I'll put the website down below. I can't rattle it off the top of my head. It's kind of long. What you do is you put in the IP address. So my IP address here is listed right there on the screen. So I punch that in real quick. I punch that in and hit connect. And now I'm connected to the YoloBox Extreme. Let me show you by doing the top-down version, top-down view. So here are my inputs. It's kind of tough to see at this distance, but if I click on one, you can see that it is changing to whatever screen I want it to change to, whatever input. So it's pretty slick. See if I can get it to focus. Bring it back here. So again, if I show you guys, just by choosing it, it'll let me pick whatever input that I tap on. So I could see this being a special use case, but it's cool that that is an option. That's something you could choose. But I'm not sure how often somebody would need that. But it's again, it's nice to have if that's something you need. Next up, the last thing here is YoloDeck configuration. I don't have a YoloDeck, but it's something like a Stream Deck, and you could plug that in and configure it. So clicking here is where you could pre-set up everything, sort of like I said, a Stream Deck. It's a separate piece of equipment to buy, but it would help you out with your streams and just give you some more options and ease of use sort of situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit that. Hit yes, and that takes us back to the beginning. So as you guys can see, the YoloBox Extreme is a really super impressive device. I hope this video has been helpful. If it's helped you out in any way, please hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in part 3 of this series. Peace.